Good morning, everyone. What a great morning so far. Just got off our SAP AI group, which is every Thursday at 7 a.m. There's so many different things. Jeremy, let me know if you can hear me. Blaine, how are you? Thank you, Jeremy. That is such a big help. I really appreciate it. Team David, welcome. Welcome, everybody. It's going to be a great day. We're going to do two different lives today. We'll do one and then another right back to back. We got a lot of interesting people that want to come on and really appreciate everybody. Tighten the hair up. There we go. All right. Julie, bring me a brush. All right. Josh, Jake, welcome everybody. Thank you. Let's pin this up here. Remember, tomorrow, these weeks just go by. Let me go back, see what I'm doing. Anyway, good morning, everybody. We're going to get this right. We're going to pin that Fridays group training at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Welcome, everybody, live here. And let's get your questions rolling. Let's see who's on. Going to jump on with everybody today. And we got Kevin Peak. Let's allow Kevin to join. And thank you for joining. We're building up. There he is.
Hey, David.
Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good morning.
Pleasure to virtually meet you finally. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Sure. Where are you at?
Yeah, here in Los Angeles.
Oh, not too far.
You're here as well, right?
I'm in right now in San Diego, but Orange County and San Diego. I'm going back and forth to create some sort of variance in my life.
Yeah, it's tough these days. This has been my office, my everything right now for the past month.
Well, you're in the health profession, so I'd love to get your perspective on some of the things, as we're coming to the tail end of the first quarter of this football game. What are some of the things that you've learned that, maybe were misconceptions from the past about your own health or about your business?
Right, absolutely. I'd say the biggest thing is, once this whole thing first started, a lot of companies, I think, were in denial. And I think now we're seeing the companies that took quick, decisive action are the ones that are faring the best at this point. And, even our company, we could have acted a little bit quicker. But we definitely acknowledged what was happening and we moved quick to figure out what we needed to do. It's, how do we get through this pandemic and survive as a business? But then again, how do we set ourselves up to thrive once this is all over? So that's been our focus, really.
That's so smart. And, I think great leaders take inventory of values as a habit. And, I'm telling everyone to kind of develop skills while you have this time right now, because the job market's going to get really tight.
Right.
Most of the people that are in the lower positions or entry positions in the job market, they don't understand what a job market being tight is. They literally don't understand it.
Right.
And they don't know what it's like to go into an interview thinking, I'm going to, have to move back home, or because if I don't get this job, but then there's 2,500 people applying for the same job. I've lived through several of these cycles like this.
Yeah.
And, being a business owner, there is some things to help these people as well as to find the best talent, because as a business owner, one of the challenges I've had is finding the best talent, which is strange because even in sports, there was more sports jobs than ever. So, you're fighting with the teams, leagues, and organizations again. On the relationship capital, the human capital side of things, what are some of the decisions that you've made currently and as you want to leverage the future moving forward? Because I think the companies that are going to win are the ones that are going to have the best people.
Right, without a doubt. And it's really interesting because, we're coming off it was the complete opposite right before this happened of being in the strongest job market. And now the tables have completely flipped. But what we've done in that, first off, when this happened and the realization came that we were going to actually close our doors and essentially have to temporarily lay off our workforce, it was the most difficult thing I've personally ever had to do in my life. I went through a 24-hour mental meltdown and the range of emotions, because it is the people capital. The people are the most important part of the business. I don't care how great it is, what we have, the service we offer. If you don't have an incredible team of people side by side with you in the trenches, you're not going to succeed. So we built this business for the last 4 years with such a great group of people, and to have to make that, it's not even making the decision. You're forced to do it. There's nothing you could do in this environment. A company like ours, our carrying costs are massive every single month. And when you have to shut your doors, the funds just aren't there. So number one, we made the decision not to actually lay off our people. We put everyone on furlough. That was a huge debate. A lot of companies did lay their teams off formally. And there was a risk in doing that. If you didn't do that as a company, there's risks to both sides. But we decided, listen, we're going to keep our team together. We're going to bite the bullet. We're not going to lay people off, and we're going to really just pray for the best. Number two is figuring out innovation. Well, during this time, we can talk about the tragedy of this whole situation because obviously it is. But when you put that aside and you look at, there's never been, at least in my lifetime, there's never been an opportunity where we can really sit back, let all the noise go, all that BS that takes up 80% of your time is all of a sudden not that important and goes away. So as a company, you really have a rare opportunity to examine your operations, to find all of those little holes and plug them up. So, we've spent this time just figuring out how can we strengthen our organization? How can we get lean? How can we make improvements? How can we build and support our team further? Was one step. Then the other step was innovation. What do we do during this time? What pivot can we make to continue operating? So we made a couple internal pivots. We built an e-commerce platform in about 3 days that we were able to get up. We also, it's kind of a whole separate topic, but we partnered with one of our labs. So our company is Next Health. We're health optimization, longevity centers, and high-tech, highly advanced medical facilities, essentially. So for us, it's like, we can't sit on the sidelines when there's a pandemic like this happening. We've got to get involved and figure out what we can do. Even if we can't make money, how can we support our community? So we partnered with one of our labs, who's one of the biggest labs in the country, and they do all of our specialized lab testing for biomarkers, who had been developing a COVID test. And we're able to take that and make it available, the antibody testing, to make available to the community, and actually participate in the study with the FDA to help hopefully facilitate the first at-home antibody test for COVID. And in doing this, we've been able to open the locations, service our community. We've been able to get about 50% of our team members back to work during this time. Even though they're not on full-time hours, they're still working. They're not sitting home unemployed or not getting a paycheck. So, we've just attacked this head on and figured out, again, what we could do to make it through and just survive and set ourselves up for success moving forward.
And as you set yourself up moving forward, was this something historically, I've been through this a lot more times than most people, being a little bit older. So I've always had, Monday morning meetings, Friday trainings. I've had pause moments. And I think the three things that I've done to prepare our company for this was, one, hire a chief betterment officer, because I became the chief betterment officer when this happened. Like looking at because I had time, right? Yeah. I moved like a maniac, right? And I was trusting in, my chief betterment officer, but nobody knows your business like you. And so that was one. Two, the stop, drop, and roll philosophy that you're talking about, that, when you stopped, it wasn't stopping forever. You were stopping to drop down to an awareness so you could roll in the appropriate direction. So your great team that you have will have a future, and probably a better future in your business now that you have perspective of what you've learned from a short amount of time.
Right.
Utilizing, this idea of stop, dropping, and rolling, taking inventory of your values was something you absolutely did immediately. So those three things, do you see you changing the way you do business as we come out into the second, third, and fourth quarter of the pandemic? I personally, I work backwards, so I connect the dots. So my thing is, okay, the only thing that really makes us have stability is a vaccine. Everything else is always into flux because it could regenerate itself. It could transform. Once you have a vaccine, now you have an ending point that we can have what I call a new beginning, not a new normal, but a new beginning. And so I'm preparing for that. After the new beginning, do you see you carrying over that stop, drop, and roll, the chief betterment officer type of aspects that you were? Obviously, you're going to continue your value side of it. But those two things, have you learned that maybe I'm moving too fast during normal course of business?
Oh, without a doubt. And there's so much that we learned during this time. And I love the chief betterment officer. It's funny. We do an annual strategic planning process. And one of our goals that we set up this year was to do a risk assessment and figure out any risk, that any crazy scenario that we could come up with, that, you know, some unforeseen that could put the company at risk. And we kind of put it off to, you know, we'll get to it towards, you know, Q4 of this year. And then of course this pandemic hits, which is like, you know, spot on the type of thing that we should have planned for. So, you know, we kind of got the goal done in advance, you know, just by default. But no, you're absolutely right. I would love to have a position like that where we have someone, because yeah, that's fallen on myself, my business partner, you know, a couple of the key leaders in the company who have had to really shoulder this entire process. But there's a ton, I think, we're not going to come out of this what we went into it as. I don't think anyone in the world is. Just the advancements in technology that we're going to use like this for conversations and meetings and huddles. I mean, I really feel like Zoom, for one, has just taken over the world. You know, they've been a genius about how they've, you know, made their product available. And we've been realizing that you can be incredibly effective working remotely, having remote meetings, remote huddles, pulling the entire team together. One of our biggest challenges has been, because we have physical locations that have to be open during business hours with customers. We can't just stop for an hour to get your entire team together for an all hands meeting. It's a very difficult thing to coordinate. With the virtual meetings, we did that in a blink of an eye now. And I'm like, why? We've racked our brains in the past trying to be so creative, doing 2 meetings. There's this shift, there's that shift. Now it's like, guys, 30 minutes before, everyone set a 30-minute window, off hours, everyone gets together, you have an all hands meeting. It's simple. So, you know, there's fun little things like that seem insignificant, but really in the grand scheme of things, that's massively significant that we can continue to pull forward.
You know, what's funny is there's a guy, Bill Gamble, who's a mentor of mine. He's a serious player in the hospitality place.
Yeah.
Extraordinary guy. He's older than me, right? I mean, he's an old school guy. He used to joke.
You're not that old, by the way.
Yeah, he's
or if
like
you are, you look great.
Thank you. But he would leave like a voice message of like 3. You ask him what time it is, he tells you the history of the clock. But he literally, he's a wonderful person. He pushed 3 years on me Zoom. Like every time he wanted to talk to me, he wanted to Zoom me. And Zoom is great, and Zoom this, and Zoom. And I was so resistant. Like the amazing thing about Zoom is I was actually, before this happened, I was looking for a bigger building because I have thousands of people that want to come to my trainings, right? And Ed Milet and I could use the training facility. I'm looking at, you know, at the top of the market, buying a huge building with a huge training center, right?
Yeah.
And this happens, and I owe Bill Gamble so much respect. So thank you, Bill Gamble, if you're out there, because I'm sitting there going, I just saved so much money.
In infrastructure, in space, in rent, in all of it. It's crazy.
I come to my Friday trainings. They're just as good as being there live. In fact, they're kind of better because, you know, when you get to bigger groups of people, the intimacy, people can see you one-on-one, right? Where they're not in the back row of 30 rows and they don't feel as much connected.
Yeah, totally.
And so, you know, if I could figure out a way to distribute books from there, that's my favorite thing about my training, giving out free books. But anyway, what are some of the things that you resisted before this that you now, you know, it could be personal or professional, that you said like, oh my God, I got to do this?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think the biggest one is working from home. You know, I mean, just as you want to be in the office, you want to be with your team, but again, realizing that we can do so much remotely and having the additional time to really set your routines, have a really great morning routine, you know, connect with yourself before you start the day. It's like, I've been in such go mode constantly. It's like the second I wake up, you know, you're already hours behind regardless because things are happening 24/7. So it's like a never ending hamster wheel sometimes. So having the being in this space where we've really been able to prioritize and again, focus on the things that are most important and also make it just not always about business. I mean, that's been one of my, as an entrepreneur, one of my biggest downfalls is business is life 24/7 for me. You know, and you realize that doesn't serve you in business. You know, you need to be a well-rounded individual. So I've been doing a little bit of gardening lately, which is nice. And, you know, just things like that I'm trying to just better myself individually, while I feel that I'm more productive during this time than I've been in the last 4 years since we started the company.
Oh, you, me, and so many people I talk to. My best, top executive training advice for you though, because I hear this all the time.
Yeah.
Uh, the day that I switched my perception of time into activity I get paid for and
Right.
activity I don't get paid for. Uh,
hmm
and it made things so much easier. Like I vacation every day, and I have for years.
Right.
I take a minimum amount of time every day to take a vacation
Yeah.
because 2 minutes a day is worth more than 2 hours in a Saturday.
Right.
And in the consistent behavior, as you know, in the health
hmm
world, the consistent behavior is what makes the change. The problem is that our human perceptions can't understand incremental growth.
Right.
I'm looking at segmentation all the time and telling people, take a small measure and do 20 or 40 segments of a millimeter and
hmm
double it. Watch how fast it grows.
Right.
That's what your human, personal, and professional career does. We
hmm
can't perceive a millimeter. Our eyes cannot. If I told you how long is this, and one
Right.
was 1 millimeter, shorter than the other, you can't perceive it. Well, that's what's
Yeah.
happening every day. We
Right.
can't perceive. But the thing is, not only can it double, even if it doubled every year, in 40 years from now, we'd be
hmm
way out there. But the thing that happens, it doesn't just double every year. It gets faster because you get better at it. So it
Right.
might take you a year for the first segment, but then it's only 11 months for the second, 10
hmm
months, 9 months. Pretty soon you're down to doubling by the moment.
Right.
And it's a really important thing. And you
hmm
nailed it when you're like, I can garden now and I'm more productive 4 times, because it actually has allowed you to understand your own perspective and
hmm
segmentation and overlap. The other thing, real quick, I love the fact, do you feel that this has forced you to learn to love certain things?
Oh
It
yeah.
shifted, right? And that's a
Yeah.
magical skill set to learn to
Yes.
love things. What's
hmm
the one thing that you learned to love that you didn't think? Like for me, it's Zoom. I
Yeah.
freaking love
Yeah.
Zoom. I learned to love
Oh, honestly, I would say it's the same thing. I had such a similar scenario. I didn't have one person necessarily pushing Zoom on me, but it was a thing that I just wasn't that into it. Now I'm absolutely, and not even for business. This weekend, my friends put together, this was amazing. My friends put together this trivia game. We have a very close group of friends that were family. We haven't been able to be together. One of our best friends in the group was actually on a ventilator in Cedars due to COVID. So,
wow.
I mean, we could have lost him. So it's been an emotional journey for us as a group, and we haven't been able to get together. Our friend puts together this trivia game for us that was literally a 78 question trivia that we all got together on Zoom, then use this other app on our phone, and we're doing this trivia. It's like, questions about each other that people should know, questions about geography, random obscure things. And even with friends, the amount that we've been able to connect on using technology has just been absolutely amazing. And it makes you realize the world is so much more connected. I'm spending more time with my family who are in France, or, all of these different places that you think just because of distance, you're not connected, but we really can be.
Yeah, and I think it'll enhance when we finally do connect. Even your family in France, you might see once a year, or even once a
hmm
decade. But
Right.
there's such an enhanced feeling when, it used to be by a quick phone call. I have one of my oldest friends in Akron, Ohio, Kenny. And because we have a call every 3 months or every 2 months, when I get
hmm
to see him in Canton, Ohio at the Hall of Fame, it's like we've never, been apart. I
Right.
think there's a lot of that people don't realize, that they're what I call putting seeds under trees that they never even sit under. They're planting seeds that they can water and grow.
Right.
This is what's happening right now with
Yeah.
these connections that we're able to do. As I let you go, any last piece of advice, wisdom, words, lessons, a piece of light for anyone out there?
I mean, I would just say for businesses, there's always going to be challenges, but no matter what, there's always opportunity for growth, and you can always find a bright side in whatever you're going through. I mean, again, for this, as difficult as it is for every person, every business out there, if you buckle down and focus and just get determined to find the good in this, you'll make it through.
That's
So
awesome,
that's what we're
Kevin.
doing.
I appreciate it. I look forward to getting to meet you in person as well. And I know your company is going to thrive. And I appreciate all the transition and re-engineering you've done to help us with our testing and other things. So thank you so much. I will see you on the other side.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care, Kevin. Thank you. Awesome. Another great entrepreneur, great company, quick transition. But, the biggest takeaway I have from that is that people don't make decisions fast, especially in compressed uncertainty. So you got to make those decisions, and you can't make your decisions quickly if you don't know your values, right? If you don't know your values, you're stuck there, whether to put your employees on furlough, to lay them off, to fire them, whatever it may be. You've got to know your values. You got to know your values of your business in order to effectuate what you're going to do next. And when things get compressed in uncertainty and change quickly, it's very important to know your values so that you can align the change with what those values are. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Let's gather some questions in here, and let's see who else wants to come live with us. And we'll maybe take a question here too, as you guys put them in there. So let me know your questions. Thank you so much, Kevin from Next Help. Looking on to the next people here, Jakey Bakey, what are we looking at? Posh, good to see you. Thank you so much. Looking forward to doing some group training with you as well. So really having fun. And let's see what questions that we have coming up today. Remember, tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The training is on 5 to Thrive, how to thrive in business and in life. It's really how to thrive in selling, sharing a vision. And we're going to go through in that detail. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Alice. Very, very nice. Jake, can you let me know who's coming on? And is he there? Is Jason here? I'm seeing here. Looking to see where we're at. All righty. We're on here. I'm sorry. I'm looking for people to join. There's a bunch of Dan McGinnis. Good to see you, my friend. Let's get some questions going. What do you say, team? David, tell me on how to overcome low self-esteem. Well, first of all, everything comes within. So if you feel less than, then we need to work on that within. So low self-esteem comes from a process of feeling less than and needing other people to vote for you, and then voting for what other people want for you. You need to vote for what you want, and then start with a complete exercise. If anybody feels not worthy, which I had to work through this, lost millions and millions of dollars because I didn't feel worthy, you got to start taking inventory of your values. Right? When you start knowing your values, your personal values, that your health is most important, maybe, then your family, then activity you get paid for, and then within the context of that you deal with the people most relative to you, and then your associate friends, or then your associates, and then your community, and then your state, and then your country, and then the world. All of these different things really, really help you. Let's go live real quick, but work within with your values, and we'll get into 100% chiropractors talking about alignment with values. The idea of practice is, there he is.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Jason?
Fantastic, David. Good to be here.
Yeah, great to see you. Well, I was just talking about alignment with your values. It's so interesting because there's a physical manifestation that happens through the spiritual, emotional, and even financial aspects of our life. And I always look to chiropractors and chiropractic medicine to tell me what's going on for the things I can't see. Because I think the ultimate end result is our physical being, and chiropractic medicine and chiropractors are able to let me know, hey, what's going on here? And I've been able to transfer that knowledge and to try to understand what's manifesting that. And yeah. I think there's a lot of that going on, and I'd love to get your perspective on what you've seen with alignment and those other aspects that we can't see, because you have it daily, and you can feel it actually probably through your hands, the different energy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think more than ever, people are asking the questions of what is health, right? And what can we do to stay as healthy for ourselves and our family? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think that chiropractic has an ability to connect the brain with the rest of the body. And we're asking the right questions, which is, with this virus going around, I mean, it's not a matter of if you come in contact with it, it's how your body handles it when it comes in contact with it. And so chiropractic's all about, at least the way that we practice it in our company, It's about preparing the body to be best ready to handle what you're going to come in contact with. And part of that's nutritional, and part of that is your headspace, and part of that is their exercise regimen. Part of that is the adjustment and making sure the body is functioning optimally to give it the best chance to thrive and handle the challenge it's going to come in contact with.
And the other thing that, we were talking about segmentation and incremental changes that turn into exponential changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere do I see it more than the body's alignment. And today, so many people are hunched over in computers.
Yep.
I'm so concerned about my own kids, not only hunched on computers, but the video games for my youngest one. Yep. And seeing a different alignment that you can't physically see it day by day, but in the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential, that applies to the alignment of the body. And you have probably seen people that were out of alignment for so long that caused surgery to be necessary, let alone bad posture that can lead to a whole bunch of other things. How can we know, number one, if we aren't in alignment, and two, what are some of the things that you can do if someone is out of alignment?
Well, I mean, objectively, we can take a look through things like films, and there's different tools that we use to measure what state the body is in when it comes in. And, people report in all different levels of what we would call subluxated or misaligned, whether they're a 13-year-old all the way to an 80-year-old. It's kind of what the body comes in with and reports to. Then it's a matter of assessing what needs to be done and then what can be done. There's certain limitations of what we're able to do as chiropractors. But yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is to take a look at where people are. You had a great point of people, it's a different level of stress now. People are hunched over computers, kids are hunched over controllers, things of that nature. I have 3 boys myself, and, it's a matter of working with the posture while they're doing that, but then also making sure they take time to get away from that. I will say that probably the leading cause, and I run the company now, I actually don't see patients anymore, but one of the leading causes when I was in practice and also talking to the doctors now on the front lines, it's more the mental stress that comes in. And we know that mental stress plays such a huge toll on us. So whether you're worried about finances or, everything that's going on in this world, that takes a toll. We all know we're not at our best. We know we're not at our best to fight off a virus or bacteria. We know we don't feel our best. We don't sleep our best when we're stressed. And it starts a vicious cycle. So not only the physical components of poor posture, but also the mental components of just stressed out all day long from homeschooling and trying to balance work or being unemployed or watching your business, go down the tubes. That's taken a massive toll on people as well.
Yeah, and then as a small business owner or business owner yourself, like you said, you don't see patients, but your business, like so many others, has been affected. What are some of the things that you've done with the knowledge that you've had in order to, one, stabilize during this period of time, but also prepare for, obviously there's a backlog of people that want to see you for when we're able to actually be able to touch one another?
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive amount of opportunity right now, I think, in the business world for those that went into this fairly prepared. And so we've learned all kinds of lessons. Every time I think as is the case in business, every time I think I've seen it all, then all of a sudden something like a pandemic comes our way, right? And so, we're in 10 different states. Most of those states we were able to remain open as essential healthcare providers. And for that, we noticed a little dip. I mean, people are scared and people don't want to come in for their care. But for Colorado, for instance, we had to close down 13 because there the governor made some decisions that chiropractors cannot be open. And so we're dealing with a whole different set of challenges, from people that notice a minor dip in their sales all the way to people that went from just killing it in practice to zero, right? And so we're working through that. And much like you talk about, what do you do now to prepare for this reopening? What do you do now to take advantage of this opportunity? And I think as an entrepreneur, we're always looking for that. It's not a matter if you're going to avoid challenges. It's a matter of how you respond to those challenges. And there's a lot of things right now that can be done to prepare you for not only your reopening, but also just, it's time to do stuff you didn't have time to do. It's re-looking at things. There's a whole new level of talent coming out on the market. There's going to be so many assistants and associate doctors and things that unfortunately had to close or had to get laid off. And when a company's poised to take those people in and give them a new home, you add talent to an already thriving company, and the result is always an incredible thing. So we're excited as all get out. We see some great changes coming. We see a lot of our people continuing to thrive even during this. So we know after this, it's going to do nothing but increase.
Yeah, and for those innovators out there, do you think you've seen anything that, you've been in business for so long, you've done such a great job, just like Einstein had the time when he didn't get his first job to sit down and think about things. Has there been any innovation that you've seen in your business that you're like, whoa, I never thought of this. This could make a huge difference. Is there something that you've learned?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few things. And I think in the world of chiropractic, for sure, I think, and I was even a former restaurateur, I think that whole model started to really get recreative of what they could do and how they could deliver their food and things in a different manner. Chiropractic's a little tougher because it's a hands-on and it's patient to patient. Telemedicine isn't a big benefit for us. We do have a lot of doctors doing consults, but when it comes down to it, our hands on the patient and adjusting that spine are what we like to do. We have a full line of nutritional supplements, though. We did notice a tremendous uptake in that. And, everything from running them out to people's car when they're scared to get out, all the way to just introducing them and their families to what they should be taking right now. Again, to work on the body as a whole, to be healthy to handle the stuff everything you're coming in contact with. It also allowed our docs to really do any cleaning and organization and remodeling and different things like that they never had time to do, because when you have 100 patients a day plus coming in your practice, a lot of these guys and girls don't have time to do anything. They're so busy all the time. One thing I've noticed, our social media presence has been just spot on, and people are really learning what they need to do. Just because we couldn't see our patients doesn't mean our patients didn't need us. And so we needed to communicate with them on a daily basis, everything from hints and tips on how they can stay healthy, all the way to sometimes just motivation and things they can do to reset their mind to an attitude of gratitude, or really focusing on what's good right now, or all these things that we can find that are a silver lining. We take pride in making sure our patients realize that. One of our philosophies is like, we only have patients for 10 minutes a day. We like that to be the best 10 minutes of their day. And we want to change their mindset, change the way they go out and attack their day. We can do some of that via social media, via telemedicine, things of that nature. And we got even better at that than we were before. That was a big benefit for us.
Yeah, in my life, it's made a major difference, and my wife's as well, with ERT as well, and other things that I do. One thing I'd love if you could invite all of your clients and employees. I do a free training on Friday on those exact topics of wellness and obviously inspiration. So
That's awesome.
It's free at 11 a.m. We got it pinned below. So thank
Okay.
you for doing that.
Yeah.
Last thing, you do a lot. I'm curious, the growing space of CBD and how applicable it is in your space now, because you do supplements. There's also oils and rubs and other things that, I don't know the efficacy of it. I'm obviously on the VC and angel investing side. So just on a personal note, I'd love to know how you see CBD integrating in your business and the future of it aligned with your business.
Yeah, we do carry it in our businesses. It's done extremely well for us, and we carry a very high-end, it's a smaller company that we teamed up with early on that actually one of our owners was associated with. And, it's done extremely well. I think the verdict is still out on the benefits of CBD and how high they are. One thing I'm a big believer in, whether it's chiropractic or CBD, and things people overlook, are the actual patient experience, patient testimonials. I listen to the patient. And so we live in a world where medicine is a double-blind, placebo study and things of that nature. But every day, if you look into the eyes of 100 different people and you hear firsthand how that person responded to that adjustment, to using the CBD product, to taking the supplements that you recommended, and you start to see how these are working, and CBD has been incredible. And so we implement all of our massages as an option. We have the lotion that actually has that infused into it. We also have a product and a tincture that people buy and utilize. And so it's a piece of the puzzle. There's no one thing that's the magic bullet for everything. That's another piece of the puzzle we like to make sure people are optimizing and using. But I think it's naive to overlook it. And we know the benefits are there. And so we want to have that as an option for our patients and make sure that we're providing everything we possibly can for them to achieve the goal that they want to achieve, which is, optimal health and wellness for themselves and their family.
People resist change and different ways of looking, including, and you've seen the evolution over the last 2 decades of what people think about chiropractors and chiropractic medicine and how that's evolved and grown and accelerated. I have a, who cares or what difference does it make attitude when it comes to proof. And I'll give you the example why. Number one, risk is the main determinant of whether I'm going to resist something now. So what's the risk of trying Zoom?
Right.
Instead of being egotistical and saying, Zoom's no good for my meeting, I need to meet face to face with everyone.
Right.
This is one of the stupidest things I've ever done in the last 3 years is resist Zoom because of my ego.
Right.
And I broke my rule of who cares or what difference does it make? Well, the only way to find out is one, you need to assess the risk. So, it's been proven now that there's no risk to chiropractic medicine. There's no risk to CBD. There's no risk to wearing my bracelets or tracing calligraphies in the morning. These are 2 things that I do. But in the end, you nailed it when you said, does it work for you?
Right.
Like, even if I fed you a placebo, a placebo would have no risk to you. But if it was working for you, if your goal was my knee hurts, now my knee does not hurt, right? What difference does it make whether it's actually medically or scientifically or technologically is the impact of it? Because in the end, it is because it worked and there was no risk to doing so. And so I think, in your business, that's especially true to communicate, because there's still some people when I tell them, oh yeah, I got to go get adjusted. Oh, that's BS. But I'm like, well, tracing calligraphies is absolutely way, way farther out there in proof of working, but yet it works for me and it works for millions of other people. What is a final statement? What would you tell people that are scared or doubt the efficacy of what you guys do?
Well, our whole business model is based upon this. And when my wife and I opened our first practice in 2004, it was about taking a very misunderstood profession and showing people how they could benefit from that when they truly understand what's going on. Chiropractic, and it's chiropractic's fault, right? For that they take their piece of the insurance pie and they don't actually tell people the benefits that you can experience from yourself and your family being adjusted. And so a lot of what we do is the educational component in our company, 100% Chiropractic. We're educating and inspiring patients and empowering patients, we say, with the knowledge they need to then make the best decision of what's going on. People need to understand the profession and what it can do, and that's our job. It's not society's job. It's, people come in, like you said, from loving chiropractic to can't wait to very, very skeptical and assuming the worst from it. And we have to take those people and really just take opinion out of it. The brain and the nervous system are the master control systems of the body. A chiropractic adjustment has an influence on that nervous system. Therefore, we know that's going to achieve the results we want. Then we add into that objective tools like thermal scans and x-rays and different things that we can do, postural analysis, see where that person is, listen to what their goals are, match that up with what they're going through, their symptoms and their subjective complaints. And then we can start to map out a game plan for these people. And then the proof is in the work. I mean, people don't come back to our practices because it's not working, right? We're seeing over 100 people a day because they're noticing these amazing results. And when people like yourself have people say, why would you do that? It's back to our former point of, because it changed my life, because I'm sleeping better. I have better energy. My allergies are clearing up. My back feels better. I'm sleeping better. All these different things that happen when your body is functioning at a higher level. And that's what 100% Chiropractic is all about. It enabled us to build a company from one small practice now to 38 different locations in 10 different states. We have another 15, 20 that are getting ready to open during a pandemic of all times. And so it's a message that people are ready for, which is natural health. You said it earlier, there's no risk. Why would this not be the portal of entry? We love our brothers and sisters that are in the medical system. We have some great patients that are there. Surgery is going to be there down the road. I don't want to jump to surgery first, though. I would rather start with a very safe, no side effect process of chiropractic, and then you can always go to drugs or medication or surgery if and when the time is ready for that. But that time is not day one.
Yeah, and the evolution is much longer with my calligraphies, my bracelets, and chiropractic or body adjustment has been along and tested so and lasted and tested so much longer than ibuprofen or surgery. And so I tell people that as well. Anyway, thank you for all the great work that you're doing, for the great entrepreneurial advice and health advice. A great combination of what everyone should be focusing on right now. Number one, their health, and then two, their stability, economic stability. And you've given some great insight. I appreciate it. Jason, thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to check out 100% Chiropractic. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it, David. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Awesome. 100% Chiropractic. You got Jason there. You can see how every business is affected differently. I love the message, though, of no risk and does it work for you? And people would not come back if it was BS, right? Not millions and millions and millions and millions of people. 100% Chiropractic. That is awesome. Thank you very much. All over it. I'm going to go ahead, take a 5-minute break, and we will be back. We're going to do 2 sessions of IG Live today. We got a lot of people want to come in on a lot of questions, so I'm going to give it a little bit of extra time today. Don't forget Friday training, everybody, especially those 100% Chiropractic fans, clients, associates, employees. Please come join me 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, Friday, 5 to Thrive, how to thrive in life, business, and in sales. We're going to get real specific. Thanks so much. I'll be back in 5 minutes.